Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music license.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Bald Eagle Podcast. I'm Shawn Cressman. I am the Bald Eagle. Oh, man. Exciting. We have our first win. We're going to talk about a lot of things on the show today. We're going to do the most in-depth play-by-play analysis of our win against Detroit. We're going to talk about some injuries, talk about a lot of stuff. But first, let me change this banner here. All right. Second, let's talk about the rules of my podcast, right? So the Bald Eagle Podcast has a couple of rules. Hopefully you don't mind them. I like them. They're rules for a reason. Rule number one, no politics. So I'm not suggesting that you are or aren't, don't have the right politics, but I don't care. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to me what your politics are. I don't care what you believe. We won't talk about any of that stuff on the air. This is all about football, and that's all I care about. So we're only talking about Eagles football, and that's the other part of my podcast. It is 100% Philadelphia Eagles. We don't talk about any other teams, unless, of course, they impact the Eagles. So we will talk briefly about, we will mention our NFC East opponents, but that's as far as scheduling and things like that. So 100% Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I also don't talk about my personal information. I don't talk about the players' personal information. You'll see me looking to the, I guess that's your right, my left every once in a while, because I am streaming on Instagram Live as well. Unfortunately, Instagram doesn't have the APIs for me to go directly this way. So I gotta keep a look. I gotta keep an eye out for the grammars, right? If that's even a word. So I don't talk about anything personal. I don't care what the players do in their personal lives, what they buy, who they date, unless it affects their performance. Then we talk about it. And lastly, I'm not censored. I say whatever the fuck I want. So if you got kids around and you don't want them to hear shit and ass, then you might want to tell them to go into another room or do the whole ears thing with the muffin ears. I don't know. I don't have young kids anymore. Okay, the Bald Eagle Podcast, and I said it once, actually may have just been on Instagram, but the Bald Eagle Podcast is your destination for the most in-depth play-by-play analysis of all regular season and postseason games. A lot of people that love football love this part of my show. I love football. I love this part of my show. But essentially, you're going to get viewpoints here that you won't hear anywhere else. You're going to get descriptions of plays, in-depth descriptions. So if you're essentially new to football, it might help you understand things a little bit better, because I explain where players make mistakes and where they should have done a better job. So the home of the most in-depth play-by-play analysis. Now, you'll notice at the bottom here, scrolling at the bottom, there's a sponsor. So the Bald Eagle Podcast is part of the Philly Sports Alliance. It's a whole group of sports podcasts, and I'll talk about their lineup in a minute. Not in a minute, at the end. But we have sponsors, and one of our sponsors is La Terrain Watches. And you look at the bottom to see the name. I don't want to spell it out. It's not the easiest name to spell out or to remember. That's why I put it at the bottom here. But La Terrain is an accessory company. They specialize in watches and other types of accessories for everybody, men, women, everybody in between. And they're great. Now, in addition to having a wide variety of a cost efficient or cost effective accessories, they also have really nice expensive stuff. But if you're going to go there and spend some money, why not get some money off, right? Why not just save some money? So you can see at the bottom there, we enter the code PSA. in the, I guess, a coupon code, and you'll get a discount just because you're part of the Philly Sports Alliance, and that's something to be proud about. Okay, now one other thing that I want to talk about before we get into the real good stuff is Philly Sports Trips. So Philly Sports Alliance has partnered with Philly Sports Trips to charter a bus to our Week 3 game at the Commanders in DC. So essentially what that means is you go to phillysportstrips.com, you find the Week 3 game at the Commanders, sign up, and again, when it asks you how you heard of it, you put PSA or Philly Sports Alliance in that line, and you'll be on the same bus as all of us. Now, it's just not just going to be Philly Sports Alliance people. There's other Philly podcast hosts. There's other Philly sports people. And there's a lot of stuff that goes along with it other than a chartered bus down to the game and tickets. Of course, you get those two things. You might get a T-shirt. I'm hearing rumors. I think I heard other rumors that Hollis Thomas might be involved. So you might want to check that out. I mentioned there's going to be people from other podcasts and Philly sports shows. The chartered bus is a round trip from Lincoln Financial Field to is it still FedEx? I don't know if it's FedEx Field anymore. To the Commanders Field. There's food, there's drinks, and the tickets are lower level, so they're good seats. So have somebody drop you off at the link, get hammered, watch the Eagles crush Carson Wentz, take a nap on the way home, and then have somebody pick you up at the link so you don't have to drive home and have a great time. But go to phillysportstrips.com. Now, I've spoken or talked about the trip down to DC, but they do a lot of Philly sports trips. It's not just the Week 3 at Washington. I believe they do all of the Eagles away games and a lot of the Phillies and Flyers. I think they do a bunch of other Philly sports as well. So go check that out. All right, let's get to our countdown. We're in the regular season, so we're basically just counting down to the next game. So that's what we're going to talk about quickly. We got 5 days until our Week 2 game. It's a Monday Night Football game against Minnesota. It's our home opener in Philly. So we got 5 days till our home opener. Exciting stuff, and not a gimme. That's going to be probably going to be a difficult game. Minnesota is a formidable team, but we of course are up to the challenge. So let's recap our schedule here. Week 1 at Detroit, we beat them 38-35. Our record's now 1-1. Week 2, we're at home. On Monday Night Football, our home opener against Minnesota. That's at 8:30 p.m. this Monday. Week 3 at Washington. That's Sunday, September 25th. 1 p.m. That's the game that we're doing a Philly Sports chartered bus to. Week 4 at home against Jacksonville, Sunday, October 2nd, 1 p.m. Week 5 at Arizona, Sunday, October 9th, 4:25 p.m. Week 6 at home against Dallas, Sunday Night Football, October 16th, 8:20 p.m. We'll see if Dak is healthy for that game. There's rumors that he could possibly be. Week 7, we have an early bye, not a fan. Week 8 at home against Pittsburgh, Sunday, October 30th, 1 p.m. Week 9 at Houston, Thursday Night Football, November 3rd, 8:15 p.m. Week 10 at home, the Commanders come to the link. Carson Wentz returns to the link. Monday Night Football, November 14th, 8 to 8:15 p.m. And I skipped over it again. Week 4 at Jacksonville, that's when Doug Peterson returns to the link. Week 11 at Indianapolis, Sunday, November 20th, 1 p.m. Week 12 at home against the Packers, Sunday Night Football, November 27th, 8:20 p.m. Week 13 at home against the Titans, Sunday, December 4th, 1 p.m. Week 14, and this starts a 3-game away stretch. Week 14 at the Giants, Sunday, December 11th, 1 p.m. Week 15 at the Bears, Sunday, December 18th, 1 p.m. Week 16 at the Cowgirls, Saturday, December 14th, early Christmas gift. We crush them, 4:25 p.m. Let me wave to an Instagram person. And then we have a 2-game home, a season-ending home stretch. Week 17 at home against the Saints, New Year's Day, 1 p.m. And Week 18 at home against the Giants, to be determined. I've been checking on that, and in fact, the whole schedule on the week of Week 18 is to be determined. So it should either be Saturday or Sunday, the 7th or 8th of January. Don't know which day, don't know what time. Then we have the NFL wildcard round, which is January 14th and 15th, 2023. The divisional round the next week, 21st and 22nd. Conference championships the next week, January 29th. The Pro Bowl, February 5th, 2023. And ending the season, in my opinion, although not technically, Sunday, February 12th, 2023 is Super Bowl 57. The Eagles will play some AFC opponent at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. All right, let's do a quick draft recap. And these are getting shorter. I'm not going to waste too much of your time on this, but I do it to help with your memory. My memory shit. Some of yours might be too. This will help you remember everything, right? So in the most recent 2022 NFL draft, we had 5 picks. I throw in A.J. Brown there because it was so exciting to get him. First round, 13th overall, defensive tackle Jordan Davis from Georgia. Had a good game in limited time. We traded the 18th and 101st overall, our picks to Tennessee for wide receiver A.J. Brown. He had a great game. Second round, 51st overall, center Cam Jurgens from Nebraska. Third round, 83rd overall, linebacker Nakobe Dean from Georgia. Sixth round, 181st overall, linebacker Kyron Johnson from Kansas. Sixth round, 198th overall, tight end Grant Calcaterra from SMU. And we have 3 undrafted rookie free agent signings that made the final roster. Reed Blankenship, a safety from Middle Tennessee State. Josh Jobe, corner from Alabama. And Josh Sills, an offensive line from Oklahoma State. Okay. By the way, I'm keep looking at Instagram because if you guys comment on any platform that you're watching me, whether it be YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I'll not on Instagram. I can't put your comment on air on Instagram, but I'll address it. I'll read it to everybody, and then I'll answer or we'll talk about it. So feel free to comment live, and I'll bring up your comment on the air. You'll get famous. Okay, so that leaves 2023. We have a handful of picks. We have 2 first rounders. That's important to know because if Jalen Hurts, I mean, he had a good game against Detroit, and we'll talk about that more later. But if he has a disappointing season, we have the capital to get our franchise quarterback if it's not him. We have a second round, a third round, a fourth round, and 2 seventh rounders. And the 2024 draft, we have a first rounder, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, one of those from Minnesota that could become a fifth rounder, a fifth, a sixth, and our 6 is either ours or the Titans, whichever is better. Okay, let's get to the most in-depth play-by-play analysis anywhere. We're going to talk about the game against the Detroit Lions. So first quarter starts. We kick off. It's a touchback. Detroit gets the ball, 1st and 10 on their 25. Goff throws a pass short left to Swift for 20 for a yard loss. Kaiser White does an excellent job reading Goff's eyes, runs down the target, and tackles Swift for a loss. Excellent play by Kaiser White, who made a difference, I think, more in the passing game than he did running game. 2nd and 11 on Detroit's 24. Goff is under center. We bring 4, but all are blocked perfectly, and that was a theme throughout the game. Swift had a monster game against us. And it wasn't necessarily, he read his blocks well, and that's really what he did. Oftentimes, their offensive linemen were not only able to block our defensive linemen, but to get in the second level and block our linebackers. And that lets Swift run straight past the linebackers to get into our secondary. And that's what happened on this second play of the game. Their linemen have both of our defensive linemen and linebackers blocked. Swift runs through a wide open hole, and he's faced with one-on-one versus Bradbury, who throws an arm tackle. Swift runs through the arm tackle. Kaiser White makes a diving attempt but misses, and Swift runs untouched for another 45 yards until Slay's able to catch up to him and tackle him. No one made a play. That was really disappointing. The second play of the game, but it basically happened the rest of the game. It was kind of a premonition of what was going to happen. It was unfortunate. So that gave the Lions 1st and 10 on our 26. They ran Williams up the middle for 7 yards. Again, their linemen easily block our 4 defensive linemen. And again, even on the second level with our linebackers, huge hole. Slay has to come up and make the tackle. Not a good sign when your corners are making tackles on running back. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That brings up a 2nd and 3rd on our 19. They run Williams up the middle for 4 yards. That brings up a 1st and 10 on our 15. Goff goes from the gun, throws a pass to the right to Chark. It's incomplete. We bring 4, are unable to get pressure. It is an accurate pass, but Chark drops it. And there were a number of drops on the Lions side, which made our defense look better. We then had 2 successful Detroit Lion false starts. So it was 2nd and 10 on our 15. Stenberg false starts, becomes 2nd and 15 on our 20. Stenberg false starts, so we're down to 2nd and 20 on our 25. They run Swift up the middle again. This time he gets 11 yards. Again, all of our linemen and linebackers were blocked. Swift gets to the 2nd level. 3rd and 9 on our 14. Goff throws a pass this time on the left to Hawkinson. We bring 4, no pressure. Reynolds runs deep, and Hawkinson runs underneath. Reynolds gets in Gardner Johnson's way, which slows him down. Hawkinson gets open. Easy 9-yard pass, and a 1st and goal on our 5. They run Williams up the middle. He only gets 4 yards. TJ Edwards goes for the wrong hole, and Epps has to come up and make a temporarily touchdown-saving tackle. And then 2nd and goal on our 1. They run Williams to the right. Epps and TJ Edwards do a great job plugging up the hole and stop Williams at the 1. They just don't wrap, right? And he's able to spin around them and get in. It bounces off their hits, easily scores a touchdown. So right away, the score is 7-0 in favor of the Lions. That was a 9-play, 75-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 42 seconds off the clock. They kick. We get a touchback. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 25. Hurts in the shotgun, runs to the left. It's an RPO. He keeps the ball, runs left. Jack Stahl, one of our tight ends, does an excellent job with the lead block. He gets 8 yards. That brings up a 2nd and 2 on our 33. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Mulata allows a Detroit defender inside of him unblocked. I wasn't able to get all the names because the all 22 was not very clear for some reason last night. So he lets him in unblocked, immediately puts pressure on Hurts, who does an excellent job avoiding the sack. Unfortunately, and this is the only complaint that I have of Hurts through this game, and I believe it's something that can be meaningful long term, but I think it's something he can get a handle on. But he avoids the pressure, and doesn't just avoid the pressure and stay in the pocket. He runs. So in this instance, he tucks the ball and runs. He misses Goddard, who was open about 20 yards downfield. Now, not a horrible decision, because on 2nd and 2, he did get 11 yards and he got a 1st down. But remember, every time he runs is another opportunity, unfortunate opportunity for him to get hurt. And that's what I don't want. A quarterback is clearly no good if he's injured. So 11-yard run gives us a 1st and 10 on our 44. Hurts is in the gun. Watkins is in motion right to left. They fake the handoff to Sanders. Hughes comes in unblocked and is able to immediately put pressure on Hurts, who's able to get the ball away, but it's a poor pass. Goddard's covered, and it falls incomplete. Fortunately, incomplete and not intercepted. Brings up 2nd and 10 on our 44. Hurts throws a screen to the left. It looks like it's blocked. Had the throw been accurate, Gainwell only had 1 defender to beat for a long gain. Brings up 3rd and 10 on our 44. Goddard false starts. That brings up 3rd and 15 on our 39. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Hutchison bull rushes Sayamalu into Hurts, who does a great job running to his right to avoid the sack. Hurts did an excellent job avoiding pressure. Absolutely. So he avoids the sack. He has a wide open Goddard streaking from left to right in front of him. Instead, he keeps the ball. He runs for 16 yards, gets a 1st down, but the pass to Goddard would have been a longer play and would have been a safer play. So that brings up 1st and 10 on Detroit's 45. We run Sanders to the right for 5 yards. Brings up 2nd and 5 on Detroit's 40. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Initially, he has good protection, but Hutchinson, who was who had an impact on the game, a significant impact, is able to get inside on Lane Johnson. Hurts rolls to his right, throws an accurate pass to the left sideline to Devonta, who's able to get his hands on it. It actually was a pretty good pass. I'll tell you, everybody complained about Hurts doesn't have a strong arm. Hurts isn't accurate. When he threw the ball, he was pretty good. He was relatively accurate. Missing receivers is one thing. Not being able to throw the ball to him is another. This was an accurate pass on the sidelines. Devontae Smith does a good job dragging his feet and extending his arms. He just can't catch the ball. Just can't hold on to it. Good pass by Hurts. Way to avoid the sack. Way to look downfield, find an open receiver. Devontae Smith just dropped it. So that brings up 3rd and 5 on Detroit's 40. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. They bring 6. We fake to Sanders, who runs to the right and looks to help block, but there was plenty of linemen on the right side of the line. On the left side, on the other hand, their corner Hughes is able to rush Hurts untouched. Now I know that was sort of a poor play, and but maybe Sanders, after he looks around and sees a sea of linemen in front of him, he perhaps looks to the other side and helps block. He didn't, though. Hurts immediately throws a deep ball to Devontae Smith. It's poorly thrown. Devontae Smith can barely make a play on it. Fortunately, it falls incomplete and is not intercepted. So that brings up a 4th and 5 on Detroit's 40. We go for it. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Detroit drops their right defensive end and rushes their left linebacker. So they set up in a 4 set, and you expect all 4 to come in, but they drop the right end and bring the left linebacker, which can be confusing to linemen, right? Anytime the guys don't come from where you expect them, or they cross, which are very common stunts. It can throw our it was very, very successful against us last year, but we do a good job picking it up. No one gets open, unfortunately, and Hurts throws a poor pass to a covered Brown. Fortunately, it falls incomplete, but we give the ball to the Lions on downs. So the Lions take over with 7 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first quarter. 1st and 10 on their 41. Goff throws a short pass to the right to St. Brown. We bring a corner blitz. Epps does an excellent job breaking on the ball, hits St. Brown right as he catches it for a 2-yard loss. So great play by Epps, who had a really good game too. And hopefully will emerge as a good playmaker. That brings up 2nd and 12 on Detroit's 39. They run Swift to the right. We can't shed any blocks. He gets 6 yards pretty easily. Tackled by Sweat and Slay. Again, not good when your corners are hitting running backs. That brings up 3rd and 6 on their own 45. Goff is in the gun. We bring 7. Sweat and Gardner Johnson put pressure on Goff, who is forced to throw a poor pass to St. Brown, and it falls to the ground incomplete. So good series. We didn't do great on 2nd and 12 with that 6-yard run, but we kept them 3 and out. So great series by the defense. So 4th and 6, Detroit punts. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 18 with 5 minutes and 51 seconds left in the first quarter. First play is a penalty on Quez Watkins, false start. 1st and 15 on our 13. Hurts throws a pass over the middle to A.J. Brown for 10 yards. He has great protection. Offensive line does a good job. It's a quick, accurate throw, and Brown does a great job of running after the catch, which is what he's known for, yak yards, right? So that brings up a 2nd and 5 on our 23. Hurts is in the gun again. He throws a pass again to A.J. Brown over the middle. He has great protection. Arunwari, I hope I'm saying that, gives Brown a good 6+ yards cushion. So that's what you get when you're A.J. Brown, right? A.J. Brown has some of the best numbers in the NFL, especially on long passes. Very physical. So corners are going to give him extra space so he doesn't burn them deep. That 6-yard cushion allows Brown to get wide open. Hurts throws a quick, accurate pass for 11 yards, and we got a 1st and 20 on our 30, on our 31. No, that was actually, I apologize. Milata holds on that play, so that 11-yard is taken back. His defender gets around him. He has to hold, and there's a 10-yard penalty. So we're back to 1st and 20 on our 31. Hurts runs to the left for... He's in the gun. He drops back. He has excellent coverage. Excellent protection, but no one's open. Eventually, he rolls left, but no one gets open. He keeps it, runs for 3 yards. Great job by the offensive line. You want him to be able to sit back there and make some decisions, even if he feels pressure when it's not there. Great job by Hurts for trying to buy time and avoid a sack. And in this situation, there was nowhere to go. So, of course, you want him to run the ball, right? So that brings up 2nd and 17 on our 34. Hurts throws a pass to the right to Miles Sanders. He has excellent protection. He stands back there all day. He did have Devontae Smith open deep over the middle, but chooses to dump it off to Sanders. Still an 11-yard completion. Brings up 3rd and 6 on our 45. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Initially, he has good protection, but again, no one's open. He climbs the pocket, sees Hutchinson move right. Got to keep an eye on that guy. So he rolls left. Misses a wide open Gainwell on the left of the sideline because he started moving and started running, and he just struggles to. Once he starts running, he doesn't stop. So he tucks the ball, runs for 10 yards. This is, I believe, one of the few hits that appeared to be late. Had a couple of those, which I think in one of my earlier shows we talked about what the NFL ref emphasis are going to be this year. They're going to put an emphasis, or they're going to put less of an emphasis on quarterback contact unless it's meaningful, and maybe that's part of the reason why they didn't call all those what I thought were late hits on Hurts as he was sliding. So that might be part of it, but it seemed like it was a. I don't think that it's a flex. I mean, I guess in theory the NFL can do anything, but I don't think that it's a flex. They could flex it, but there are rules to that, and I don't know all the rules, Jim. I honestly don't know all the flex scheduling rules. I don't know. Even if Prescott isn't back, it's still a good game. Eagles Cowboys. I think they would still air it. So my point on the last play where he slid and got hurt is that there was an open Gainwell on the left sideline. Had he thrown the ball to Gainwell, he would have avoided the possibility of getting hit altogether. So that brings up 2nd and 17. No, that brings up. Okay, so he did run. So on that play, he did run for 10 yards, 3rd and 6. So at least he got a first down. And I know I'm being picky, right? Everybody's probably going to say, Shawn, you're really picking, being nitpicky. But I don't want him to run so much if he doesn't have to. So we have a 1st and 10 on Detroit's 45. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. He has great protection. Aaron Wayer is man on Brown and attempts to jam him, but Brown slips out of the way and is wide open down the field. Hurts finds him quick, but this is the one where he throws that short pass. Brown's able to catch it, but if Hurts is able to lead him a little bit more, there's an opportunity for more yards. But still a completion. Hurts still recognized the open man and threw the ball pretty quickly. So that gives us a 1st and 10 on Detroit's 27. It's an RPO. Hurts keeps it and runs to the right. He slides down, but again, gets hit as he slides. Only gets 2 yards. Why? Again, I don't like. I mean, with Miles Sanders, who I think is one of the best backs in the league, and Boston Kenny Gainwell, which I think is a great replacement. Boston Scott's pretty good too. Why risk injury on your quarterback? I don't like those decisions. But anyway, 2 yards on 1st and 10 gives us a 2nd and 8 on Detroit's 25. Hurts is in the gun again, throws a short pass this time to Gainwell. They bring 5. Offensive line does a great job of picking it up. Gainwell's wide open underneath, and Hurts finds him quickly for 4 yards. And that would be the end of the first quarter. So the first quarter ends with the score 7-0. Second quarter starts. We got a 3rd and 4 on Detroit's 21. Hurts is in the gun again, throws a pass over the middle to A.J. Brown. He has great protection. Brown runs a slightly, not a deep slant, but a deeper than regular slant. Hurts throws a perfect ball between a corner and the linebacker, and Brown breaks a few tackles for a 16-yard gain. So great play, great throw by Jalen Hurts. That's right. Like, follow, and subscribe to the Bald Eagle podcast on all social media. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So that 16-yard completion gives us a 1st and goal on Detroit's 5. Hurts is in the gun again. We run play action to Scott. He throws a quick pass to Brown, who was open, but the pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So that brings up 2nd and goal on our 5. We run Miles Sanders to the left for 3 yards. Brings up 3rd and goal on the 2. Hurts runs to the right for 1 yard. And then we got 4th and goal on the 1. And we run a play action fake to Sanders. Hurts rolls right and runs in untouched into the end zone. Great play call. Extra points good. So that makes the score 7-7. That was a 13-play, 82-yard drive that took 7 minutes and 55 seconds off the clock. We kick the ball. The touchback. Detroit starts their series 1st and 10 on their 25 with 12 minutes and 56 seconds left in the second quarter, first half. They run Swift to the right for a yard. Jordan Davis is in there. Jordan Davis, every time I watched him attempt to block Jordan Davis, I loved it because they didn't move him at all. He'd be standing there, and there would be a defensive lineman or offensive lineman coming to tackle him from the left. He'd block him, and he would stay put, and then he'd drag him left or right down the line of scrimmage to get in the way of the running back. He did an amazing job, and we'll talk about his impact. Although he wasn't in there very often, we'll talk about his impact and effect on the run game. But great play by Davis. He drags his blocker down the line of scrimmage, makes the tackle, and Swift only gets 1 yard. So that brings up 2nd and 9. Detroit's on their own 26. Swift runs up the middle this time for 2 yards. Edwards does a great job shedding his block, meets Swift in the hole, solid tackle, only a gain of 2. So that brings up 3rd and 7 on Detroit's 28. We bring 5. Goff drops back. We bring 5. Tua Pulatu had a good game. He puts pressure on Goff. Goff gets rid of the ball, and it's incomplete. Another excellent series by the defense, both on run, rush, and against the pass. So they punt. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 29 with 11 minutes and 37 seconds left in the half. Hurts is in the gun, throws a pass to the right to Goddard for 11 yards. They bring 5. Our offensive line does a great job picking it up. Goddard's able to find a spot over the middle, and Hurts throws a quick, accurate pass. I use that word because that's exactly what you want, a quick, accurate pass to an open receiver. That brings up 1st and 10 on our 40. Sanders runs to the right for 9 yards. Miles Sanders, by the way, had, I think, a very good game. In one instance, he sort of missed the hole, but he was able to make up for it by maneuvering and creating a seam with other blockers. But Miles Sanders, almost 100 yards, really solid game. So that 9-yard run brings up a 2nd and 1 on our 49. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. He has good protection. There's an accurate pass to tight end Togai, but he drops it. Drop pass. So that brings up 3rd and 1 on our 49. We have too many men on the field. So that brings up a 3rd and 6 on our 44. Hurts is in the shotgun and throws a pass to the left incomplete. So that brings up. Let's recap that scene. So he's in the gun, 3rd and 6 from our 44. They show a 7-man blitz, but at the snap, two back out. Now, of course, if you're an offense, you got to plan that they're going to bring all 7. When they drop 2, that can affect, perhaps you could have called a different play or could have, perhaps you audibled into something with that 7-man front. Even though they brought only 5, Kelsey drops their linebacker Board to pick up their defensive lineman Bryant. Board gets to put pressure on Hurts from the right. Hurts scrambles left and is able to throw the ball before being caught from behind. He throws it to the ground. Now, Sanders was open in the flat on the left-hand side, but Hurts was looking to the right the whole time, which I don't fault him for because after they dropped those 2 guys, the majority of the people, the blitz came from Hurts' right-hand side, and essentially what you're supposed to do to beat a blitz is to throw in it. If a defense blitzes you, they have to bring extra men from the secondary to rush you, right? So that means there's less people in the secondary to cover your receivers. You always want to throw into the blitz. So if they're blitzing from the right, typically the men that they're blitzing are coming from the right-hand side, which means there's somebody should be open. So you immediately want to look to the right and blitz. So Hurts did the right thing. They were just able to get to him too quickly. So that brings up a 4th and 6. So we punt. The Lions start the next drive, 1st and 10 on their 22 with 10 minutes and 4 seconds left in the first half. Goff is in the gun. He throws a pass to the right to Hawkinson, incomplete. Cox is able to bull rush his guy, which is right guard Stenberg, into Goff as he's throwing, causes a poor pass and a completion. Fletcher Cox, right? So let's actually we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the difference between him and Jordan Davis because there is a big difference. Davis is not going to be a pass rusher, and I don't think that's why we drafted him. He's going to stop the run, and he did. Cox is supposed to be a pass rusher, which means he's susceptible to being blocked in the run, and we'll talk about that on another play. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on Detroit's 22. Goff drops back again, throws a pass over the middle to Hawkinson again, but it's incomplete. We bring 4, unable to get pressure. That was another thing that we suffered from this game. We did not get a lot of pressure on Goff, which is disappointing with all the people that we have on our team. Hopefully it's and we did, I think, we did blitz a decent amount. I wouldn't say we blitzed a lot, but in any effort or in any way, Goff throws that to Hawkinson, but Edwards underneath, able to knock the ball down. If Edwards wasn't underneath, Slay was in coverage, and he would have knocked it down too. So great coverage by our secondary to break that up. That brings up 3rd and 10 on Detroit's 22. Goff is in the gun again, drops back. We bring 4. Unfortunately, can't get pressure. Goff throws to St. Brown. who's covered underneath by Epps and over the top by Gardner Johnson. Poor decision. A great break on the ball by Epps and Gardner Johnson to break it up, and it falls incomplete. Excellent series by our secondary. In every situation, we had either pressure in his face with Cox, or we had great coverage in the secondary. Not just one, but two men on the receivers he was throwing to. So great job by the secondary. So they punt. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 34 with 9 minutes and 44 seconds left in the half. Hurts in the gun. He drops back. There's a pass over the middle at A.J. Brown. It's a play action fake to Sanders. Great protection. Quick, accurate throw for 12 yards and a first down. So we're at our 46. We run Miles Sanders up the middle. We do a great job blocking by the offensive line. The left-hand side of the line crashes down. There's a huge hole for Sanders. Goddard especially does an excellent job driving Harris down the line of scrimmage. And there's a 13-yard rush for a first down and 10 on Detroit's 41. We run Miles Sanders again up the middle. Another great run by Sanders. In this play, there was a hole, but there was a free man to Sanders' right. If that guy continues on and tackles Sanders in the backfield, we're done. But Sanders pauses in the hole, which freezes that defensive line Harris, who could have got him. Then he moves a little bit right. Anzalone was in pursuit. He moves right, causing Anzalone to over pursue. And there's immediately a seam. He runs right through for 8 yards. Great running by Miles Sanders. That brings up 2nd and 2 on Detroit's 33. Hurts in the gun again. It's an RPO. He keeps it, but nobody falls for it. He's able to shuffle the ball out of bounds to avoid a sack. It's a throwaway, but that brings up 3rd and 2 on Detroit's 33. Hurts is in the gun again. A.J. Brown's wide left, goes in motion left to right. Hurt fakes to Scott. Their corner Hughes falls for the fake, leaving Goddard wide open in the left flat. Hurts finds him quick, throws an accurate pass, and Goddard runs for 24 yards for a 1st and goal on Detroit's 6. Great play. 1st and goal on Detroit 6. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. Initially, he has good protection, but nobody gets open. Hutchison, which we've talked about a lot so far, gets around Lane Johnson. Harris gets away from Goddard. They pressure Hurts, and he has to throw the ball away. So that brings up 2nd and goal on Detroit 6. We have a penalty. Delay of game, never okay, right? Delay of game penalties are never acceptable. We should always be mindful of the clock. So that brings up 2nd and goal on Detroit's 11. Detroit has too many men on the field. Thank goodness. So that brings up 2nd and goal on the 6. Gun. Hurts is in the gun again. It's a planned run by Hurts. He goes left, and he gets 5 yards, pushed out of bounds. So that brings up 3rd and goal on Detroit's 1. We run Miles Sanders up the middle for 1 yard. He gets a touchdown, and the score is 14-7 in favor of the Eagles. That was a 8-play, 66-yard drive that took 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We kick off. Detroit Lions get the ball 1st and 10 on their 25 with 7 minutes and 34 seconds left in the half. They run Williams to the left for 4 yards, brings up 2nd and 6 on their 29. They run Swift to the right for 1 yard. The whole defensive line this time does a great job blocking all the possible holes, right? There's gaps in the line, and there's planned spaces where these running backs are supposed to run. We do a great job clogging everything up. Swift tries to string it out. Epps does a great job tackling. Epps had a solid game. I can't think, and perhaps my memory will be refreshed by going through all this. I can't think of a bad play by Epps. I don't recall off the top of my head him doing. There was one, right? There was one deep pass where I think he perhaps wasn't in position, but we'll talk about that later. In addition to that 1 yard, only 1 yard gain, Hawkinson held. So it's a 10-yard penalty, gives the Lions 2nd and 16 on their 19. Goff is in the gun. He drops back, stares down their tight end Hawkinson, who's covered well by Kaiser White. Tuipulotu swats their right guard. Stenberg's hands out of the way, goes inside directly into Goff's face. Right as Goff is getting rid of the ball, he's getting hit. At the same time, Hawkinson doesn't feel like he's open. So Hawkinson, as he's throwing, turns away, as Goff is throwing the ball, Hawkinson cuts to the right to try and open up the pattern. If you're not aware, almost every NFL pattern has an extension to it. And Hawkinson felt like he wasn't open and wasn't going to get open, so he quick cut the pattern right. That meant that he wasn't even there looking back. He didn't even contest the catch. Kaiser White's able to tip the ball. Bradbury's right there to grab it in the air. Bradbury makes one move to the sideline, runs for a pick six untouched. So excellent play by Tuipulotu, who puts pressure on Goff, hits him as he's throwing, which means he doesn't see that there's double coverage. Even better job by Kaiser White in coverage. Bradbury for being around to get that pick and running it in for a pick six. So great play by the defense. And this is what's going to separate any team from the rest as far as being a playoff / Super Bowl contender is turnover ratio. And so far we are +1, which is amazing. We want to stay very high in that plus category. We kicked the extra point. That makes the score 21-7. That was a 0-play, 27-yard drive. It took 0 seconds off the clock. So we kicked the ball off. It's a touchback. Detroit starts their next drive, 1st and 10 on their 25 with 6 minutes and 26 seconds left in the first half. William runs to the right for 1 yard. Jordan Davis, again, blows up the hole. Left guard Jackson has to cut block him. Which is the only time they were ever successfully able to block Jordan Davis. They cut block him. He falls, but he falls in the way. That forces their running back Williams to cut to the left, where Kaiser White's waiting and ready to fill that hole with a solid tackle. That brings up 2nd and 9 on Detroit's 26. Goff is in the gun, throws a pass to the right to Chark. Chark is immediately hit after the catch by Slay, only gets 4 yards. Good play. So that brings up 3rd and 5 on Detroit on their own 30. This time, Goff throws a deep pass to the left-hand side. We bring 5. We struggle to get any pressure on him. I'm not sure who made the mistake, but either TJ Edwards doesn't get deep enough in his zone, or Epps gives Reynolds way too much of a cushion, and Reynolds gets open for a 28-yard completion. So that's the one. I believe that's the one time that Epps perhaps didn't do what he should have. And now it could have been on TJ Edwards. He could have been expected to be deeper in his coverage. But anyway, that's a 28-yard completion on 3rd and 5, which extends their drive. So they got a 1st and 10 on our 42. Goff is in the gun. He throws a pass deep right to Chark. Maddox lines up on the right side, runs a corner blitz, puts pressure on Goff, who overthrows Chark, who was well covered by Slay anyway. So ball falls incomplete. That brings 2nd and 10 on our 42. They run Swift to the left. We bring 4. TJ Edwards get blocked outside, tries to arm tackle Swift, who runs right through it for 13 yards. A lot of arm tackling, not a lot of solid tackling against the Lions. That gives them a 1st and 10 on our 16. Goff is in the under center again, throws a pass to Williams over the middle. We bring 4. We can't get any pressure. It's a quick pass, and TJ Edwards does a good job of closing immediately. It's only a 2-yard gain. Brings up 2nd and 8 on our 14s. They run Swift to the left for 7 yards. Brings up 3rd and 1 on our 7. Williams runs up to the middle for no gain. Jordan Davis, again, stands in the middle. Is not moved, slides his blocker Stenberg down to the hole, and stops the rush for no gain. That we then have the 2-minute warning, and then Swift lines up 4th and 1 on our 7. Swift runs for 7 yards and scores a touchdown. That makes the score 21-14. That was a 10-play, 75-yard drive. Took 4 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock. All right. They kick the ball off. Watkins runs it back for 16 yards to our 22. So we start this drive 1st and 10 on our 22 with 1 minute and 51 seconds left in the half. We run Gainwell up the middle. He gets 6 yards. The whole offensive line crashes down to the left of the line of scrimmage. If he's more patient, there's a huge hole all the way to the left. Instead, he cuts slightly inside. Still gets 6 yards. Still a good run, but just something to be aware of. On 2nd and 4, on our 28, Hurts is in the gun again. Has great protection. Throws a pass over the middle of the gain yard. It's a quick, accurate throw. Gainwell for 8 yards. Brings up a 1st and 10 on our 36. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. They bring 5, 4 of which are on the right side of our line. So they overwhelm the right side of our offensive line. One of them is safety Walker, who's able to get around the right side untouched, catches Hurts before he's able to see a wide open Quez Watkins, and he's sacked for a 4-yard loss. So that brings up 2nd and 14 on our 32. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. Their defensive lineman Kaminsky runs straight at Hurts. Kelsey looks to his right to block Hutchinson. Dickerson looks to his left. to block board, and Comiskey runs untouched right at Hurts. A couple of times, I think it was at least 3, maybe only 2, I don't know. There was a little bit of miscommunication between Dickerson and Kelsey. If somebody says you have him, you know, if somebody commits to getting this guy, you know, that would make this pass significantly different, or this play significantly different. But nobody does. They one goes left, one goes right. Comiskey runs straight in the middle, untouched at Hurts. Now, Hurts does a great job avoiding the sack, turns upfield, runs for 10 yards. I'm not going to get mad at him for not looking downfield because this time nobody was open. So that brings 3rd and 4 on our 42. I'm sorry, we call a timeout, 46 seconds left in the half. 3rd and 4 on our 42. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back. They bring 4 and do crossing stunts. So essentially, both outside defensive ends cut inside. So they all start, you know, there's 4 guys that start at the line of scrimmage. It's a 4-3. The outside linemen, defensive linemen, start to you know, they rush, they take a step back, and then they go inside. We do a great job of picking that up. That can be difficult for our offensive linemen, but we do a great job of picking it up. Hurts throws a deep pass to A.J. Brown, who was covered pretty well by Harris, but the pass is perfectly placed where only Brown can reach it. Brown has to stretch his arms out, so he has to reach for the ball. After he catches the ball, Brown drags Harris another 15 yards down the field to the 4-yard line. An excellent job by the offensive line picking up that crossing stunt. A perfect pass by Jalen Hurts. A great catch and run for A.J. Brown. Great play. So that 54-yard pass brings us down to the 4-yard line. So we got 1st and goal on the 4. We run Miles Sanders to the left. He strings it out but loses a yard. We call our 3rd timeout. We got 14 seconds left in the half. 2nd and goal on their 5. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. They bring 4. No pressure. Hurts throws a poor pass to an open Gainwell. Hits the ground before he gets to Gainwell. If it's a better pass, odds are Gainwell's able to shake the one guy that's covering him and score a touchdown, but he doesn't. So that brings up 3rd and goal on Detroit's 5. Hurts drops back again in the gun, throws to the right to A.J. Brown, but it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage. He had good protection. I don't know if A.J. Brown was open. I couldn't figure that one out, but the defensive lineman jumped up, knocked it down, so it doesn't matter. So we kick a field goal. 23-yard field goal. So that makes the score 24-14 in favor of the Eagles. That was a 9-play, 73-yard drive that took 1 minute and 49 seconds off the clock. We kick off. They start 1st and 10 on their 25 with 6 seconds left in the half, and Goff kneels, and that ends the first half. So the first half ends. We're up 24-14. Since we're at halftime, this is a great time to talk about one of our other sponsors, and you'll see it down here. Let me switch this up here. Six Pack Coverage. So Six Pack Coverage is a multimedia company. I don't want to say they don't just have podcasts, but they do have a lot of those. They have blogs and video vlogs or whatever you want to call them. But they don't just focus on sports. Six Pack Coverage has, of course, they have sports because that's what a lot of people love. But they also have shows and blogs about food, entertainment. They have things on finance, a wide range of topics. So go to Six Pack Coverage, check them out. We're streaming on their YouTube. They stream on some of our platforms, so it's a great partnership. So check out Six Pack Coverage. All right, let's start the second half. Third quarter starts. They kick off. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 18. They run Miles Sanders to the left. Harris is able to get into the backfield untouched. Tackles him for a 1-yard loss. That brings up 2nd and 11 on our 17. Hurts is in the gun again. Throws a screen to A.J. Brown for 5 yards. I remember this one. A.J. Brown was surprised to turn around after he got the screen that there was nobody there to block him. That hesitation cost him a couple yards, but still got 5. Brings up 3rd and 6 on our 22. Hurts is in the gun again. Throws this time to A.J. Brown on the right-hand side. Okudah gives Brown a nice 6-yard cushion. Brown cuts outside, wide open. Again, Kelsey and Dickerson go in different directions. One goes left, one goes right, which means Anzalone gets a free run at Hurts. Thank goodness this time Gainwell picks it up, and Hurts throws that pass for 10 yards complete to A.J. Brown. Good job on Gainwell's part, picking up that free blitzer. So that brings up first and 10 on our 32. Run Gainwell up the middle for 7 yards. Goddard does a great job blocking Hutchinson, who had a meaningful impact on the game I mentioned. You've heard his name a lot. That brings up 2nd and 3 on our 39. Run Gainwell up the middle again. Malata really doesn't block Harris, which is kind of unfortunate. He pushes him with one hand, and then he goes to get to the second level. Unfortunately, that push wasn't enough. Harris, cuts off that push to the hole and is able to get Gainwell for only a gain of 1 yard. Great that Malata is trying to get to the second level, like Detroit's offensive line did to us often. But it's more important to get that first guy well enough so that your guy has a chance to even get into the second level. So that brings up a 3rd and 2 on our 40. Hurts in the gun again. It's a play action to the right. Throws to Pascal for 7 yards. Quick, accurate pass. Pascal does a great job of getting open. Detroit calls their first timeout with 11 minutes and 34 seconds left in the third quarter. We're 1st and 10 on our 47. We run Miles Sanders to the right again. It's great blocking this time by Malata. Redeems himself. And Dickerson at the line of scrimmage. Downfield, you find Kelsey and Sayamalu blocking linebackers and corners. Sanders is able to go between the two of them to get to the second level. Finds a real good seam, runs for 24 yards. So great job by Miles Sanders finding the seams, and great job by the offensive lineman, not only blocking at the line of scrimmage, but then downfield as well. In addition, Anzalone, there was a penalty on Anzalone for unnecessary roughness. I don't remember why or what he did, but doesn't matter. Gave us 15 yards. So we got a 1st and 10 all the way down on Detroit's 14. Hurts is in the gun again. Looks like it's a plan run by Hurts with a fake screen to Gainwell to the left. Hurts runs to the right and gains 8 yards. Brings up 2nd and 2 on Detroit's 6. We run Gainwell up the middle for 4 yards. And that brings up 1st and goal on Detroit's 2. Gainwell again to the left for 2 yards. And we score a touchdown. So that gets the score 31-14. It was a 10-play, 82-yard drive. It took 4 minutes and 39 seconds off the clock. We kick the ball off. It's a touchback. Detroit starts the next series, 1st and 10 on their 25, with 10 minutes and 21 seconds left in the third quarter. Goff throws a pass this time to the right to Hawkinson. Gardner Johnson tackles him immediately after 2 yards. It was a great open field tackle by Gardner Johnson. Brings up 2nd and 8 on Detroit's 27. Williams runs to the left this time. Reddick sheds the block by their tight end Hawkinson easily to get into the backfield. Tackles Williams for a loss. Great play by Reddick. Brings up 3rd and 10 on Detroit has the ball on their own 25. They run Swift up the middle. They did another good job blocking both our defensive linemen and linebackers. No Jordan Davis on this play. And this is the play that made me think about the difference between Fletcher Cox and Jordan Davis, because Fletcher Cox is looking to rush the passer. So on this play, when the lineman went to block him, I think it was the lineman was blocking right. Fletcher Cox was running left. Fletcher Cox just kind of goes with the block, thinking that he'll go around the lineman and sack the quarterback. Turns out he just made that lineman's job very easy and got out of the way for that run. And that's the difference. When you think about the style of Fletcher Cox, who didn't have the best game, wasn't a big contributor, and compare that to the style of Jordan Davis, they're very different. And neither of them do both extremely well. They each have their own, and I don't know that you could argue that Cox rushes the passer extremely well anymore, but that's the difference. Cox has easily moved on some run plays, and this was one of those instances. Now, in addition to Cox easily being blocked to his left, and that's exactly where the ball was run, right down that seam. They blocked our linebackers too, and it was a successful play for 16 yards. So it wasn't all his fault, but just the difference. And now here's the thing: they both have their strengths. So who do you play, and how? So my theory would be Jordan Davis is in there the majority of the time. Cox comes in when it's a clear passing play, because giving up a big run like this on 3rd and 10, can really deflate your defense. And had Jordan Davis been in there, most likely would not have been blocked as easily as Cox. And who knows what this would have turned into. Anyway, that 16-yard gave Detroit a 1st and 10 on their 41. They run Williams up the middle. Now, Cox this time does a good job, redeems himself. I wouldn't say redeems himself, right? We're going a little too far because a 16-yard gain is pretty significant on 3rd and 10. But he sheds the block. He wasn't trying to get a sack this time and makes a good tackle on Williams for a 2-yard gain. That brings up 2nd and 8. Detroit's on their own 43. Goff drops back again. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. Goff throws a pass to Williams. Great pass. Williams was open. He just dropped it. And this is the play that Barnett tore his ACL, which we'll get to later when we talk about injuries. 3rd and 8. Detroit has the ball in their 43. Cox has a neutral zone infraction, 5-yard penalty. 3rd and 3 on Detroit has the ball in their own 48. Goff is in the gun again. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. Goff throws a well-placed ball to Chark, who was able to get a step on Bradbury for 13 yards and a 1st and 10 on our 39. Goff again drops back. We bring 5. Hargrave's able to slide outside of their left tackle Decker and hit Goff as he's throwing, causing a poor pass and almost an interception. It looked like Slay should have gotten it, but it's a little too low and he doesn't catch it. Good coverage by our defense and good pressure by Hargrave. Interesting enough, if you read the NFL's recap of this game, they credited Sweat with the pressure, and actually it was Hargrave 97, not Sweat 94. So that brings up a 2nd and 10. They have the ball on our 39. Goff is in the shotgun again, throws a screen. It's well blocked. Hawkinson gets 16 yards and a 1st and 10 on our 23. Goff is in the gun again. We bring 4. Can't get pressure. St. Brown cuts outside and has a step on Reddick. Goff throws a decent ball, but it falls incomplete because St. Brown drops it. So we get another gift. A couple of drops. What was that, 3 now? 3 balls that where the receiver was open. Goff throws a decent pass, and the receiver ends up dropping it. So better them than us. So that brings up 2nd and 10. They have the ball on our 23. They run Swift up the middle for 3 yards. That brings up 3rd and 7 on our 20. Goff is in the gun. He drops back. We bring 4. We run that cross stunt. Milton Williams is able to get outside of their left guard Jackson, pressures Goff to scramble to his left. Maddox closes in at the 18, but Goff jukes Maddox. How embarrassing is that? A big, lanky, slow quarterback puts a move on what is supposed to be a quicker, more athletic nickel corner. But he does, makes that move at the 18 and gets another 8 yards for a 1st and goal on our 10. They run Williams up the left for 6 yards, tackled by Hargrave and Epps. Brings up 2nd and goal on our 4. Goff throws an incomplete pass over the middle to Reynolds. Brings up 3rd and goal on our 4. Goff is in the gun. We bring 4. We're in man, and St. Brown goes in motion from left to right. I'm sorry, from right to left. It looks like Epps is supposed to cover him and reacts late. When Brown cuts inside, Epps is out of position. Hargrave was able to get around their left guard Jackson and pressure Goff, but not before he was able to throw that ball. It's an accurate pass to Brown. Epps isn't able to tackle Brown before he runs into the end zone, and it is a 4-yard touchdown throw. That makes the score Eagles 31, Detroit 21. That was a 14-play, 75-yard drive. Took 6 minutes and 12 seconds off the clock. So now we got 4 minutes. Let's see, we got about 4 minutes left in the third quarter. This is when the Detroit Lions attempted a onside kick. Ballsy, smart, out of nowhere play. Fortunately, Zach McPherson caught it, did advance it, so it was not successful. So good for us. So we get a 1st and 10 with good field position on Detroit's 49 with 4 minutes and 8 seconds left in the third quarter. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. They bring 5, including their corner Harris. Boston Scott does a good job picking him up, but Hurts feels that pressure, even though it doesn't really wasn't there. Scrambles to his left for 6 yards. It did look like Pascal was open downfield. Would have preferred him to pass it, but he did not get hurt. So that brings up a 2nd and 4. We got the ball on Detroit's 43. We throw a screen to Brown. He doesn't gain any yards. It's very well played by Okuda. Hits him immediately. So that brings up a 3rd and 4 on Detroit's 43. Hurts is in the gun. He drops back. They bring 4. We pick it up well. No one's open downfield. Hurts feels pressure and scrambles right, slides down. But this time he's hit by Walker, and this one was clearly a unnecessary roughing, unnecessary roughness. And I actually think that there was helmet-to-helmet contact. That gives us a 1st and 10 on Detroit's 23. Hurts is in the gun. They bring 6. We do a great job of picking it up. Goddard does a really good job blocking their linebacker, Rodriguez, but only temporarily. He releases him. Hurts floats a pass over Rodriguez to a wide-open Goddard, who cuts off a great block by Dickerson, breaks a few tackles, and gets down to the 1-yard line. Almost a touchdown, right? If he would have leapt or had a little bit more momentum, it would have been a touchdown. But great job by Goddard blocking, fooling the lineman to think that he was going to stay and protect. Releasing him at the right time, and a great pass by Hurts to get it over the lineman for a good 22-yard completion and a 1st and goal on their 1. And then we run Boston Scott up the middle for 1 yard and score a touchdown. So that makes the score us 38, the Lions 21. That was a 5-play, 49-yard drive that took 2 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock. We kick the ball off. It's a touchback, so the Lions start the next drive 1st and 10 on their 25 with 1 minute and 41 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. They run Swift to the left for 4 yards, brings up 2nd and 6 on Detroit's on their own 29. Goff is under center. He drops back. We rush 4. No pressure. We're in zone, and Slay follows Chark deep, allowing St. Brown to cut open underneath. Goff throws an excellent pass for a 29-yard completion. I believe, the way I looked at it, that Epps was supposed to be the man deep. Slay should have most likely stayed underneath and covered St. Brown. But Slay was most likely going for the deep receiver, thinking that Goff was looking that way and trying to get a pick. So Slay should have probably stayed more shallow and underneath and been on that receiver. But he wasn't, so they completed a 29-yard completion. That brings the Lions then get 1st and 10 on our 42. Goff is in the gun again. We bring 4 again. We can't get pressure. TJ Edwards is covering Raymond and gets beat deep. Ep gets turned around as Raymond is going deep. Fortunately, the pass by Goff is short and falls incomplete. A stronger pass, a more accurate pass, is easily a touchdown. And what I say by Epps getting turned around, when you're a corner in the NFL, the way that you play your receiver is you square up on them, you backpedal. If they cut left or cut right, you twist your hips and go with them. The last thing you should do is turn around and put your back to the line of scrimmage. Not only is it less efficient, but now you lose your bearings. You don't know where the ball is. You can't keep an eye on the ball. You don't know what happened to the receiver. For all you know, in your spin, he cuts the different way, and now he's even more open. So rough play by Epps. TJ Edwards trying to cover a receiver like Raymond is definitely a mismatch. So not that there's any excuses, but we understand. In addition, TJ Edwards struggling to cover Raymond, even though it fell incomplete, he was holding. So all that really doesn't matter, but just kind of recapping some techniques there. So that brings up a 1st and 10. They have the ball on our 37. Goff is in the gun again. Throws it to the left to St. Brown, but it's thrown behind St. Brown. Still should have caught it, but he didn't. Dropped the ball, thank goodness. So that brings up 2nd and 10 on our 37. Goff throws a pass to the left to Hawkinson. We bring 4. No pressure. Can't get pressure. Hawkinson has a step on Gardner Johnson. Goff's pass is actually a little in front of Hawkinson, but he's able to make a diving catch. We did challenge that play, but they ruled the call on the field as a complete pass stood, and that took one of our timeouts, and that did end the 3rd quarter. So the 3rd quarter ends with the score 38-21. All right. 4th quarter time, right? 4th quarter. So we start the 4th quarter. The Lions have the ball 1st and 10 on our 26. Goff drops back, throws a screen to the left to Swift. When Goff throws the ball, all but 2 of our defenders are on the right half of the field. And we're talking about a screen to the left, right? So they overwhelmed the right-hand side of the field. We went with all of them. Javon Hargrave and Reddick both missed tackles, and that screen turns into a 25-yard completion, which gives them 1st and goal on our 1. They run Williams to the left for 1 yard and score a touchdown. So that makes the score 38-28 in favor of the Eagles. There was a 6-play, 75-yard penalty. Took 2 minutes and 25 seconds off the clock. They kick off at the touchback, so we start the next series 1st and 10 on our 25 with 14 minutes and 16 seconds left in the game. Hurts in the gun, drops back, fakes to Sanders, rolls right, finds A.J. Brown down the middle. Has great protection, throws a quick, accurate pass. Great catch and run by A.J. Brown for 12 yards and a 1st and 10 on our 37. We run Miles Sanders to the left for 3 yards, brings up 2nd and 7 on our 40. We have another delay of game, never acceptable. Brings 2nd and 12 on our 35. Hurts is in the gun. He fakes to Sanders. He drops back. Only 2 receivers are in patterns downfield. Neither one of them are open. Even though we've kept so many people in the block, Anzalone has a clear shot on Hurts, and their linebacker board gets around Togai, and they force Hurts to scramble to the right. No one continues to get open, so Hurts has to throw the ball away. Brings up 3rd and 12 on our 35. Hurts is in the gun again. They bring 7. Hurts turns to his right, throws to an open Devontae Smith, but their defensive line, Bryant, knocks the ball down at the line of scrimmage. So another a ball knocked down. That's unfortunate, but better than an interception. So we got a 4th and 12 on our 35, and we punt. Detroit Lions start the next series 1st and 10 on their 20 with 12 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game. They run Swift up the middle. They're blocking both our defensive linemen and our second-level linebackers. TJ Edwards was at the hole but couldn't get around a block by Hawkinson. It's an 18-yard run, which gives Detroit the ball 1st and 10 on their 38. Goff is in the gun again. We bring 4. We aren't able to get any pressure. We're in zone. Josh Sweat, who is probably is not used to being in coverage, is supposed to have the left flat. St. Brown, much faster, runs a solid pattern. He's wide open. Goff gets him the ball for a 7-yard completion. Brings up 2nd and 3rd. Detroit has the ball on their own 45. Goff drops back again. We bring 4. We can't get pressure. Reynolds has a step on Bradbury. Goff has plenty of time, but slightly overthrows Reynolds for an incompletion. Had Goff thrown a more accurate pass, it's a touchdown because Reynolds did have a step on Bradbury. Fortunately, it falls incomplete, brings up 3rd and 3 on Detroit's 45. Goff fumbles the snap. Cox uses an inside move to get past Stenberg and sacks Goff for a 10-yard loss. So the one significantly good play that Cox had all game. And of course, he did his little, celebrated and crawled on the ground. So that brings up 4th and 13. Detroit has the ball on their 35, so they punt. We get the ball back 1st and 10 on our 17 with 10 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game. Hurts in the gun. RPO, he keeps it, cuts inside of a good Jack Stahl block. But on this play, had he went outside of the block, most likely he would have run out of bounds and got more yards. Instead, he cuts inside, and that allows their corner Hughes to hit him low. Hughes was sprinting in pursuit. Had Hurts kind of slowed around and then gunned it around the edge, he would have had Jack Stahl on the as a blocker in the way, but decides to cut inside. So that brings up 2nd and 8 on our 19. Hurts in the gun again. It's a screen to Sanders. Rodriguez is able to get around Dickerson's block pretty easily and tackles Sanders for a 2-yard loss. So that brings up 3rd and 10 on our 17. Hurts is in the gun again. He drops back, has excellent protection, throws to the right to Devontae Smith, who's covered well by Okudah. The pass is short, uncatchable, but fortunately, pass interference is called on Okudah. Even more unfortunately, however, Lane Johnson was under the impression, I believe anyway, that it was a screen. He blocked his man on the right and then ran downfield. So clearly he was an ineligible man downfield. So those penalties offset. So we are back at 3rd and 10 on our 17. Hurts is in the gun again. They bring 7. We block everyone except for their safety Hughes, who has a free shot at Hurts. Hurts does a great job avoiding the sack, runs for a few yards. After Hurts avoids Hughes, if he resets and looks downfield, he'd see a wide open A.J. Brown running left to right. If he throws that pass, it's easily a 1st down. In addition, they brought 7. Hughes got around the back of the line. He didn't come up the middle or any of that stuff. So if Hurts, when he feels that pressure, climbs the pocket, there was the linemen are taught to block in a round pattern. So Hurts can progress climbing that pocket as the linemen block and go around him. If he would have done that, he would have seen A.J. Brown thrown the pass, and we would have got a first down. But he doesn't. So he scrambles to the right, gets 2 yards. So that brings up a 4th and 8 on our 19. So we punt. It says there's offensive holding on Detroit. I'm not sure how that might have been a typo. So we punt the ball. Detroit gets the ball 1st and 10 on their 28 with 8 minutes and 19 seconds left in the game. Goff throws a pass to the right to St. Brown for 5 yards, tackled by TJ Edwards. Brings up a 2nd and 5 on Detroit's own 33. They run Swift up the middle. Milton Williams does a great job shedding a double team by both Jackson and Decker. Stays in the hole, stops Williams for a 1-yard gain. Great play. Stops Swift for a 1-yard gain. That brings up 3rd and 4. Detroit on their own 34. Goff throws a pass over the middle to Chark. We bring 4. Josh Sweat uses an inside move on Decker to get in Goff's face, but Chark has a step on Maddox, and the pass is accurate for 13 yards. Brings up 1st and 10. Detroit has the ball on their own 47. They run to the right for no gain. Tua Palatu does a great job shedding his block by Stenberg, and Reddick throws Pinell Sewell to the side to stop the run for no gain. So great play by those guys. So that brings up 2nd and 10. Detroit has the ball on their own 47. Goff this time goes in the gun and throws a pass to the right to St. Brown. We bring 4. Can't get any pressure. St. Brown has a step on Maddox, and Goff throws a quick, accurate pass for 5 yards. Brings up 3rd and 5. They have the ball on our 48. Goff again in the gun, drops back. We bring 5. Graham gets a free release on the right side, but can't get to Goff in time. TJ Edwards starts on the right side of the ball and is covering Swift, who's lined up on the left side of the ball. Swift goes left. Edwards already is in a disadvantage because he's on the right side. Can't close fast enough. Goff sees him, able to get an accurate pass to Swift out of the backfield for 7 yards on a 3rd and 5. So that gives them 1st and 10 on our 41. Goff is in the gun again. He drops back. We bring 4. We can't get any pressure again. I think we did a very poor job of pressuring of Goff this game. He fortunately overthrows Chark, who's well covered by Bradbury for an incompletion. That brings up 2nd and 10 on our 41. Goff is in the gun again and drops back. We bring 5. Can't get pressure. This time, Goff overthrows Raymond, who had to step on Bradbury. The reason Bradbury was out of position is because his technique was poor. Bradbury stayed flat-footed as Raymond ran in front of him and didn't move until Raymond was maybe a yard in front of him, which means by the time Raymond gets there and makes a move, Bradbury's flat-footed and can't really react quickly enough. Again, Bradbury should be backpedaling, and when Raymond cuts, twists his hips and runs with him. Fortunately, it was a poor throw, and the ball is incomplete. But I think that's definitely something that we need. Some of these, I get frustrated anyway when some of these routine, well-known techniques are broken, and it causes issues on the play. So we got 3rd and 10 on the. They have the ball on our 41. We bring 5. Goff is in the gun. He drops back. We can't get any pressure. Gardner Johnson holds his man at the top of the route. Goff's pass is too far in front of Hawkinson, but it's pass interference, which gives them a 1st and 10 on our 30. They run Swift up the middle for 5 yards, tackled by Sweat. That gives them a 2nd and 5 on our 25. Goff in the gun again, throws this time to the right to St. Brown. We bring 4, can't get any pressure. St. Brown again has a step on Maddox. Goff's pass is accurate. Fortunately, Kaiser White is right there to hit St. Brown right after the catch. So it's only a 3-yard completion. But again, Maddox, not the best in coverage, right? Not the best. He's gotten burnt 3 or 4 times so far. So the Lions have a 3rd and 2 on our 22. Gun in the shotgun, or Goff in the shotgun. We bring 4. Can't get pressure again. Goff turns to his right. There's a deep pass to Chark, who's well covered by Slay. Slay's looking at Chark, but right before the ball gets there, Slay turns to look inside, so to the left, loses the ball, and Chark catches it for a 22-yard touchdown. So it was good coverage by Slay, but right there at the end, he takes his ball off the receiver, trying to look back, looks the wrong way. I don't know why he looked inside instead of looking to the right where the receiver was, but he wasn't able to track the ball anymore, and it was caught by Chark for a touchdown. So that's a 22-yard touchdown. The extra point's good. Makes the score 38-35. That was 11 play, 72-yard 11 plays, 72-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 28 seconds off the clock. All right, so they kick off. We get the ball. We run the back. Watkins runs the ball to the 19. We get the ball 1st and 10 on our 19 with 3 minutes and 49 seconds left in the game. We run Miles Sanders to the right for 3 yards. Brings up 2nd and 7 on our 22. Run Miles Sanders again up the middle for 5 yards. Brings up 3rd and 2 on our 27. Hurts is in the gun. He hands off to Sanders. The hole is blocked by Hutchinson and Barnes. Sanders sidesteps to the left behind Dickerson, while Barnes and Hutchinson run into Sayamalu. Sanders gets around Dickerson and takes off for 24 yards. Great job by Sanders. At a key point in the game, if we aren't able to convert and get a first down, we have to punt, and then Detroit has a chance to come back and tie or win the game. But Sanders keeps running, keeps moving his feet, keeps looking around, keeps sliding to the left where the opening was, and that 24 yards is gives us a 1st and 10 on Detroit's 49. We run Boston Scott to the right for a yard. Detroit calls their 2nd timeout with 1:55 left in the game. 2nd and 9 on their 48. We run Boston Scott to the left for 8 yards. Detroit calls their 3rd timeout with 1:50 left in the game. Brings up 3rd and 1 on Detroit's 40. We run Boston Scott up the middle for no gain. Brings up a 4th and 1 on Detroit's 40 with 1:06 left. Hurts gets in the under the center and runs a quarterback sneak for 1 yard, gives us a first down, and technically there's a penalty, too many men on the field, but then we kneel on it, and that ends the game. So the game ends 38-35. As we all know, great game by our offensive line. Had some struggles with Kelsey and Dickerson communicating. I'm sure they'll get that resolved. Our defense, however, needs to do a better job shedding blocks on the run, and we got to tighten up some of our technique. But overall, I mean, a good game. Hurts did well. I wouldn't say he had a great game, but he had a good game. There were moments when if he stopped running and brought the ball down and looked downfield, he could have found receivers that would have gained more yards and or just helped him avoid hits. But again, good game. It was a win against what looks like is going to be a pretty decent Detroit Lions team. All right, let's get to a couple of game highlights here. So the offensive starters were tight end Goddard and Jack Stoll, so we had a double tight end set. Left tackle Malata, left guard Dickerson, center Kelsey, right guard Sayamalu, right tackle Johnson. The wide receivers were A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Of course, Hurts was our quarterback, and running back was Miles Sanders. Hurts stats, he was 18 for 32, which is a 56.3% completion percentage. He threw for 243 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Not a good completion percentage, and he started out rough. I forget what the first, it was 0 for 1 for like 6. So a little bit better after that, but not again, statistically, not a very good game. His quarterback rating was only 80.6. He added 17 rushes for 90 yards. It's a 5.3 average and 1 rushing touchdown. Again, I don't want him to run that much. Whether it was planned or not, I want him to look down the field and throw the ball more often, right? I don't want him to get injured. According to Pro Football Focus, Hurts did receive the 3rd highest passer grade rating in week 1. He was blitzed on 50% of his passing plays, which is the 2nd most in week 1, and he didn't have any turnovers, so that is excellent. So definitely props for Hurts. Not only did he avoid the sack often, and I think he did a great job with that, he was safe with the ball, no turnovers. Again, the only complaint I have is that oftentimes he should have pulled the ball down and thrown it versus running. Of course, Miles Sanders was our leading rusher. He had 13 rushes for 96 yards. That is an amazing 7.4 average rush yards per carry. He did have 1 touchdown. All of our touchdowns were rushing, and all of our running backs, including Hurts, had 1. Sanders, Gainwell, and Scott all had 1, and of course Hurts. A.J. Brown was our leading receiver. He had a great game. He had 10 receptions on 13 targets for 155 yards. That's a 15.5 average. He had 128 yards in the first half, which is a career high for him. Devontae Smith had 0 catches on 4 targets. One of them he should have had. The other ones he wasn't open, but rough game for Devontae Smith. But you know what? I'm sure he'll have his moments. Our defensive starters were so we have defensive tackles Cox and Hargrave. Sweat was our defensive end. We had linebacker Reddick, Edwards, and White. Corners Bradbury and Slay. Maddox was our nickel corner, and our safeties were Gardner Johnson and Epps. Our defense allowed Swift to run for 144 yards on 15 carries. I mentioned that Sanders' 7.4 yards per rush were excellent. Swift averaged 9.6 and a touchdown. Very poor. That's something we have to definitely work on. However, Goff only completed 21 of 37 passes, which is 56.8%, which is low. 215 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns, but he did have 1 pick. And his rating was slightly worse than Hurts. Hurts had a 80.6. Goff had an 80.3. Our defense did force that 1 turnover, a 27-yard pick 6 by Bradbury. And I mentioned Jordan Davis on defense did very well against the run, as I expected. I never expected Jordan Davis to be a significant sack producer. With his size, I expected him to be a big run blocker. I expected his speed to help when chasing down quarterbacks that are already running, not necessarily getting to them in the backfield. He had 15 run snaps and stopped 2 runs, which is good. Multiple plays, he forced the running backs to make cuts and change their direction. When Davis was in the game, which was only 22 defensive snaps, the Eagles defense only allowed 2.9 yards per carry, and they ran against Jordan Davis. It wasn't like all of his snaps were passes. Our third down efficiency, we were 10 for 17, which is 58.8%. They were 9 for 14 on third down, which is 64.3. Fourth down, we were 2 for 3. 66.7%. They were 1 for 1. In the red zone, we were 4 for 5, which is 80%. They were 4 for 4. Goal to go, we were 4 for 5, and they were 3 for 3. And we had 455 total yards to their 386. We had 10 penalties for 61 yards. Take away those 2 delay of games. That's 8 for 51, which is a little bit better. But they had 7 for 65. So after this week, the NFC East standings, which you probably already know, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's exciting to me. The Eagles are in first place technically because we scored the most points at 1-0. Washington is in number 2 at 1-0. The Giants are 1-0 in third place, all 3-way tie, and the Cowgirls are 0-1 with their loss. All right, let's get to some Eagles news. Offensive tackle Lane Johnson restructured his contract, converting about $5.88 million of his base salary to a signing bonus. In addition, kicker Jake Elliott restructured his contract, converting $2.715 million of his base into a signing bonus. And lastly, offensive lineman Isaac Seumalo, who actually was probably our worst offensive lineman this game, got bull rushed a couple of times, struggled a little bit. He also restructured his contract, converting about $4.615 million of his base into a signing bonus. What that all means is that we have added an additional $9.5 million of cap space, which is important in the middle of the season, something that the executives like to have. Howie Roseman specifically likes to have around $10 million of space, just in case you got to make some midseason moves. Now, because let's go to first, we're going to start with the injury update, a little out of order according to my paper here. Derek Barnett, I mentioned he tore his ACL or hurt himself on that one play, out for the season. He's going to be on IR, and Teron Jackson is probably going to replace him. We also signed defensive end Janarius Robinson to the active roster from the Vikings practice squad. Janarius Robinson is 6'5", 258, played 4 years at Florida State. While he was there, he played in 35 games, had 104 tackles, 55 of them solo. He had 20.5 tackles for a loss, 8 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. In his final season at Florida State in 2020, he started 9 of 9 games played. He had 26 tackles, 7 for a loss, that 7 tackles for a loss was second on the team, and he had 3 sacks, which led his team. He also led the Seminoles in hurries. He was drafted in the 4th round, 134th overall in the 2021 NFL Draft by Minnesota, and was on injured reserve in his rookie season. So we signed him due to the injury to Derek Barnett. Some quick NFL news: the Broncos Seahawks game on ESPN/ABC, was the most watched Monday Night Football game since 2009 and the most watched Week 1 Monday Night Football game since 2006. And had about 19.85 million viewers across all platforms. I talk about this kind of stuff, NFL news, NFL viewership, because that indirectly affects the Eagles, right? The more people that watch the NFL, the more money they make, the more powerful the organization is, for good or bad, and the more likely the NFL sticks around for the rest of my lifetime. All right, let's get to the world famous, probably what you guys have all been waiting for as a second to the most in-depth play-by-play recap, the Bald Eagle Fact. Now, if you're not aware, the Bald Eagle Fact is one of my favorite things of my podcast, especially during the off season. But what I do is I look back and I try and find interesting facts about the Eagles. Pretty self-explanatory, right? But some of the things that I'll do are I'll talk about every Eagles leader in passing, the Eagles leaders in rushing, and things like that, sacks. We'll talk about former drafts. We'll talk about their coaches. Some of their greatest games as listed by the NFL's NFL 100. We'll also go over every year that they've been in the league, and that's what we're going to do today. We're on the Eagles' 12th year in the league, which was in 1944. In that 12th year, the head coach was Greasy Neal. Their home field was Shibe Park. They held their training camp at Westchester University. That year, the draft was held on April 19th, 1944, and there was 32 rounds. There was only 10 teams in the league, so it's not as bad as you think. Now, they started to structure the draft to benefit the weaker teams, and so in this year, in rounds 2 and 4, only the 5 teams with the lowest winning percentage got to pick. This year, the Eagles alternated with the Steelers in picking either the 4th or 9th pick in each round. The way it worked is every team got a pick in each round. So we had 30 picks. We didn't get those 2 because we didn't have the lowest winning percentage. We weren't one of the 5 worst teams the year before. But of our 30 picks, only one of them went to the Pro Bowl and eventually became part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that was Steve Van Buren. He was a halfback, if you're not aware, from LSU that was drafted first in the first round, 5th overall. Back then, it was a 10-game schedule. During those 10 games, our offense scored the most points in the NFL with 267. That's easily... if you think about records now, that's easily, 9 games if you have a strong team. So it's actually not that far off, right? 10 games is 26. We led the league in rushing attempts with 424. We led the league in rushing yards with 1,663. And we led the league in rushing touchdowns with 23. And rushing yards per attempts with 3.9. Now, as good as our offense was rushing, our defense was just as poor. We were 9th out of 10 teams, so second last in passing attempts. Our defense, we allowed 136, and we were second to last in passing yards with 941. I'm sorry, I take that back. Our offense was great in rushing. Our offense sucked in passing. Our offense was second last in pass attempts and second last in passing yards. Our defense allowed the least amount of yards in the NFL with 1,937. And we allowed the least amount of first downs with 86. We also led the league in opponents' rushing yards. We allowed the least amount of rushing yards with 558. We had the best opponent's rushing yard per attempt at 1.7. We were second in the league in interceptions with 33. But again, our defense struggled with passing. We were third last, so 8 out of 10 in our opponent's passing attempts with 231. And we were 7 out of 10 in opponents' passing yards with 1,379 and passing touchdowns with 12. So passing defense struggled just like our passing offense did. Speaking of passing, our lead quarterback was Roy Zimmerman. He started all 10 games. He completed 39 passes with out of 105 attempts. That's a 37.1% completion percentage, very poor. But not horrible back in the day. He had 785 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a 50 quarterback rating. He also added 26 rushes for a loss of 84 yards. But somehow, even though he lost 84 yards on those 26 rushes, he still had 2 rushing touchdowns. And then he was a corner, so he did have 4 interceptions for 36 yards on defense. So even the quarterback back in 1944 played both ways. Steve Van Buren, that rookie that we drafted that eventually went to the Hall of Fame, was our leading rusher. Started 6 of 9 games his rookie year. He had 80 rushes for 444 yards, which is a 5.6 average. He had 5 rushing touchdowns. He also had 15 punt returns for 230 yards and a touchdown, 8 kick returns for 266 yards and a touchdown. And on defense, he had 5 interceptions for 47 yards. Again, played both ways. Mel Bleeker was our leading receiver. He started 3 of the 9 games he played. He had 8 receptions for 299 yards, which is a 37.4 average, and 4 touchdowns. He had 60 rushes for 315 yards, which is a 5.3 average, and 4 rushing touchdowns. He also had an interception on defense because he played both ways. That year, he was the NFL's top receiver. He had the second longest reception in the NFL for 75 yards. The top receiver as far as yards. He had more receiving yards than anybody else. He had the second longest reception in the NFL with a 75-yard reception. He was third in the NFL in total touchdowns with 8, and third in the NFL with rushing yards per attempt at 5.3. He was fourth in yards from scrimmage with 614, sixth in points scored with 48, and he led the Eagles in both touchdowns and scoring. And then our lead man on defense, not a lot of defensive stats. They didn't have sacks, they didn't have tackles, but they did have interceptions. And Ernie Steele led our defense with 6 interceptions for 113 yards. We ended up finishing that year 7-1-2. That was good enough to get us second in the NFL Eastern Division. The New York Giants were first and 8-1-1. Back then, only the top team in the division went to the playoffs, so we did not make the playoffs for the 12th season in a row, so we haven't made the playoffs yet since we've been in the NFL. The Washington Redskins were in third place with a 6-3-1 record. The Boston Yanks were in fourth place with a 2-8 record, and the Brooklyn Tigers were in last place, 0-10. So that was the 1944 NFL season, which was the Eagles' 12th NFL season. So let's get to a couple more things here. So I mentioned six-pack coverage. I mentioned Philly sports trips, La Terrain. One other place you want to go and visit is the Painted Lines. So the Painted Lines is a great group of guys as well. They're mostly sports podcasts, but they also stream on some of our stuff. We stream on theirs. So go check out the Painted Lines. In addition, do me a favor and check out all of Philly Sports Alliance's shows. Mondays, we have the Football Smack Talk show at 6 o'clock, and that's got Ryan Reese and Eric Ward. That is an NFL show. They talk about all teams. They're both Eagles fans, though, so there's some emphasis on the Eagles. On Mondays at 7:30, there's a Diamond Club podcast that's featuring John Hunter, Chris Lahiff, and Danny Hart, and that's going to get you all caught up on all things Phillies. Tuesdays at 6:30 is the Philly Broadcast. That's a 4 Philly sports podcast with Ryan Reese and Ryan Finneran. So you get Sixers, you get Flyers, you get Phillies, and you get the Eagles. So you get all 4 sports, Philly sports. So we got you all covered right there. Wednesdays at 6. You're especially during the regular season, you're watching the Bald Eagle podcast to get the most in-depth play-by-play analysis anywhere. After my show at 8 p.m. is Mike Sports. That is a football podcast featuring Eric Ward and Jay Landry, all NFL. And this time, Eric Ward is an Eagles fan, but Jay Landry is a Cowgirls fan. So you have 2 pretty competing fans, and things might get a little chippy on their show. On Thursdays, you have Tendies on Pattison, which is a Flyers podcast featuring Paul Bacho, Jack Griffin, and Chris Lahiff. And last but not least, on Thursdays at 7, we have Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. That is a wrestling podcast featuring Eric Ward and Mike Rouse. Of all the other podcasts, of course, I love my logo the best, but I like that TLC logo, pretty sweet looking. So check out all those shows. Go to all of the socials and follow the Philly Sports Alliance. Follow the Bald Eagle podcast. Look me up on all sports, on all socials. You know, when I'm on at Wednesdays at 6, if you don't have time to watch the whole show, pop in, and share to your timeline. That gets me a lot more coverage. Tell your friends about it. Follow me on social media. Now, I'm either at Bald Eagle 4133, or you can search the Bald Eagle podcast. Now, be careful if you just type in Bald Eagle or the Bald Eagle, you're going to get some actual bald eagles, not the best Eagles podcast in existence. So type in the Bald Eagles podcast. Follow Philly Sports Alliance. Follow all their socials. Check out all those podcasts I mentioned. Check out Six Pack Coverage, The Painted Lines, and go to Philly Sports Trips and join us on our trip down to DC. All right, that's everything I got this week. Next week we'll be talking about the Minnesota win, and I'll again go over in detail how we beat the Minnesota Vikings and what we did well. For now, go Birds.